A refresh thing so it can go. Come on, man.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nadine Wong. Would you like to know the express?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I welcome everyone to the Now Talk Show. I am your host, Dr. Nadine Wong. Today, like always, we have an exciting show for you. We have a distinguished gentleman by the name of Jermaine Cowan. His bio, he is well decorated. So sit back and relax as he comes on to express the inner self of who he is as a man and really what has shaped him into who he is today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Jermaine Cowan to the Now Talk Show. Jermaine, are you there? So, we know Jermaine is an international artist, and hmm, sometimes we have to clear customs. So, perhaps it's delayed a little bit in terms of him coming on screen. I'm looking at the time and I'm realizing we are around 12 minutes behind schedule. Again, I want to apologize. We had a bit of a technical difficulties as we had in terms of the introduction video. So please be patient with us as we go forward and welcome in today's guest, Jermaine Cowan. Ah, Jermaine, welcome. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
what's up?
Okay,
Let me
okay,
see.
Jermaine,
Struggle,
Jermaine,
struggle,
Jermaine,
struggle,
Jer-
struggle all day.
Jermaine, take a breather. If you can take
Ah,
the hat off. If you can take the hat off, I
I'm just
see
trying to
it.
get at you guys.
I
Ah,
sense it. Just take a
I
breather.
don't even understand half of it. So we have to switch. We have to switch to another mood. You know
Right. Okay.
what I
Don't
mean?
worry.
Yeah.
I've already explained the fact that you're an international artist. It takes a while to clear custom. Wink, wink. Right. So this is the very reason you're right on time as an artist.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I literally, I didn't even make it home. I had to detour and go to the business just to make this happen because
Uh,
evening traffic is crazy.
as
So,
I said, as an international artist coming on your private jet, you still got to go through custom.
oh
So
wow.
again, so welcome and thank you for making the detour for this time in history that you have allowed the Now Talk Show to be a part of just everything that you have done, and hopefully you have some launching news because I know you artists. There's always something getting ready to birth.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff that we have on the radar right now.
Okay,
Literally, my whole weekend was spent in the west of Ontario. We
okay,
call it behind God's back. That's what I call it, behind God's back.
okay.
It's very far.
Okay, well, okay, so the sound keeps going in and out. So let's hear you say something else because your sound fades a bit.
My, can you hear me now? Can you hear me
Oh,
well?
that is the voice of an artist. Yes, I can hear you. So let's get
Naturally,
right into
naturally.
Jermaine Cowan's now. Jermaine, your bio. Oh my goodness. Wow, your bio is impressive. But before I get into the meat and potatoes of everything that influenced this great man, your heart, your spirit, who explain to the viewers, tell me more. You're Jamaican born. Tell me how were you raised and what life was like and basically transition from Jamaica to Canada and really what happens?
Coming to Canada, basically, I think it's like everyone had 60% of coming to Canada was my parents' decision, not my.
So you came as a child?
Yeah, 18.
Okay.
I came to Canada when I was 18. And
Okay.
40% was my decision. You know what I mean? The 40% I was really strongly about it, didn't want to come. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I realized coming to Canada was a great opportunity for me. And I have to give thanks for that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so later in my life, that's when I really thanked my parents. I said, you know, thank you for bringing me here, because, you know, it was a good move. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I see so much transition in stages of my life since I've been here. You know what I mean? To the point that, like I said, now I'm soaring. I'm soaring right now. You know what I mean?
Right. So what was life like? I mean, so you're 18, 16, 15. What was life like in Jamaica with your parents? You know, did you get in any trouble? What was that like?
Listen, you tell me which teenage kid never get into trouble. You know what I mean? So,
right hand or left hand?
You know, I'll tell you something. If my mom was here raising me, she would have gone to jail. Just leave me
Are
right
you
there. She would have
referring
gone
to
jail,
the disciplinary action that most? Yeah.
Old
Okay.
school.
Okay.
And it really had taught me a lot. You know, when she used to tell me certain things, I never listened. But it's later on in my life, it makes sense.
Well, you brought up a very good point. So what did she say that as a child you were like, Mom, you're not talking right, and
Here's
now
the
as an
thing,
adult?
because growing up in Jamaica, it's from ghetto to ghetto. We call it ghetto.
Okay, what's the name?
You know what I mean?
What parish?
Here in Canada, we call it low income.
Okay, so what parish? What ghetto?
I'm from Spanish Town, Spanish Town, Jamaica. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And if you guys know, like Ensom City, Elton Park, them place, the Garden Pen, those things, like if I tell you about Tivoli Garden, those are Kingston. You know what I mean? So people know the type of vibe down there. So because in the ghetto community, you know, is either one or two things: they're gonna live or you're gonna die. You know what I mean? And my mom was fighting for our lives. You know what I mean? And while you was a child, wasn't paying attention to those things. You know what I mean? You just wanted to, you know, friends are doing some crazy stuff, so you want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? And I was a part of all of those junk. But so those are the reason why I was getting a lot of, you know, should I say ass whooping or whooping?
Disciplinary action.
Yeah, so those are some of the things, and it really changed the whole trajectory of my life. Later on, it's when, because you know, sometimes you see the kid pick up like a razor, see his dad shaving. You know what I mean? And it's not good for him, but not at the moment. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Later on, it'll be good for him. You know what I mean? And some of those things, and I have to give credit, because I grew up in a single parent home, and you know, watch my mom go through struggles and transition with relationships and stuff like that. So those play a part of my today. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when I, you know, even just a date, you know, to the point that I don't really talk about relationship conversation, because I think that's for another time. But I look at those things because those are my starting place. Right. You know what I mean? My starting place with relationship, my starting place to be independent, my starting place to hold on a job, a starting place just to be something or do something in life. You know what I mean? Even a starting place with even God. You know what I mean? Because I didn't find him until when I came to Canada. That's when I found God.
Wow. So it was inevitable. You had to come to Canada for all
there was a purpose. I said I'm living the Moses life. The Moses life.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Well, so you're 18 and you landed in Toronto.
I landed in Mississauga.
Oh, Mississauga.
That's
okay.
That's where my dad's side of the family reside, and you know, I had 5 goals in life. You know what I mean?
At what age did you make those goals?
I think it was when I was in high school, I was because you see the thing is, I've always had that entrepreneurial mentality growing up. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just always wanted to do my own thing. You
Right.
know, I literally written out some stuff, and I said, you know what, let me see what can happen. You know what I mean? If I
Right.
write it out, because and then is later on, then I realized Bible talks about the plans of a man. You know what I mean? And I didn't even know that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And you said make your plan so simple to even point that baby can read it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it's later on down, I really things started to come into life for me. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be a relationship counselor. Yeah, that was one
Okay.
of my big things. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I wanted to be an art director because my background is graphic design and marketing and stuff like that. That's my type of thing. And
Right.
I really wanted to be a soccer player and an actor. The funniest thing
Wow.
is the last thing was on my plate was music. You know
Okay.
why music was the last thing? Because it was something that came natural to me. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Because my dad is a singer. You know what I
Okay.
mean? My dad's family is a singer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys know Tommy Cowan, Carly Davis Stem and stuff like that.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's relative, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that's where that, the musical, in us. And music and art was something that came natural, and it came back to haunt me. So I had to go back to the gift and foundation. So that's why I'm living my
So,
dream right now.
so based on your bio and all the accolades and awards and ranking number one and number two on satellite radio and awards from Jamaica, Barbados, Canada. I mean, would you really think that music, you just said it haunted you? Like, it sounded like this definitely is your gift. The Bible says your gift will make room. It never said when it will
Yes.
birth, but it definitely says will make room.
Yeah. But you see, you point on something. It will make room. But growing up, I wanted to challenge myself in other areas. You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean? Because you see, when it's like, what's his name was Jonah was running. Jonah was running everywhere he go was running to the point that
Okay.
he had to surrender. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Surrender to the purpose. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I had to come to a place of where I wrestle, music waking me up at night, and the funniest thing, I've tapped into all of those other avenues in my
Right.
life, but
Okay.
music and the art, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, because I realized it gave me the eye for detail, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives me music to infect people, you know what I mean. So it's two distinct things, you know what I mean. And so when I see people, I remember my uncle asked me, "Are you trying to move people heart? Are you trying to move people feet?"
And what was the
You know what I
answer?
mean? Uh,
What was the answer?
I tell them I'm trying to move people heart. You know what I mean? And
So
and the funniest thing, when you listen to my music, my type of music, I don't do music that is dead. You know what I mean? I try to impact people up here. You know what I mean? And a lot of us have itchy ear, and I try to run away from the itchy ear. I
uh-huh.
try when I'm my music to speak to people their mind, because we have to renew in our mind. And we used to certain old thinking, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
especially as believers and stuff like that, we're just stuck in certain places. And I wanted to take people from elevate people. So when I listen to my music, people may say, "Oh, you're secular, and if you're crossover," I said, listen to me. The Bible said God has given me all things pertaining to life. You go,
That's right.
okay?
But
And
and the
tell me
Bible,
to go
music
out
comes
into the
from,
world, to the
and
world.
music comes from God. All
Yeah,
things are,
definitely.
yeah. So you should be proud of your gifts.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Even for my business, I'm into the hair business and stuff like that. I'm into the salon business, and every staff that works for me, I try to let them know. It's the thing. I can't teach them passion. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And you can't teach people certain things. Is either
Right.
you have it or you don't have it. You know what I
Right.
mean? My thing is, I just tell them, get lost into what you're doing.
Right.
And get lost into your work, because that's what worship looks like. You know what I mean?
So Speaking about the affairs of the heart, you talk about music. You write music to influence the heart. I must admit, I became an instant fan of yours when I heard this particular song, "What Is Love." So I know we could talk about where you and I mean keep this question in mind because I'm going to ask you with all of the accolades and awards and stuff, when you got the first award, question number one, where were you when you got it? And what was the emotion? That's the question. But segue, I want you to bring me to the what influenced you to this particular song. What led you to write it? How compose it and so on. What is love?
Let me throw something out because we have a team of writers around me, okay?
Okay.
And we all come together and write. So a big shout out to Promise, big shout out to CDH, big shout out to Chosen because it is it doesn't take one person, you know what I mean? But
Okay.
sometimes if I cannot put words together, I'll tell the story. And we
Mm.
sit around the table and we formulate words. You know what I mean? And for that song, "What Is Love," it's about going back to Jamaica with old relationship that I used to be in, and
Right.
I'm like, it's like it was like almost like an 18-year relationship. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But half of the year I was half of the time I live in Canada. She live in Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to miss her, but
Oh,
because most of our relationship was over the phone,
right.
and I went to Jamaica for a month,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I literally went to Jamaica for a month, and it's the last week out of the month I connect with her.
Was that
And if
intentional?
I could have missed her, I would have married her. But I couldn't miss her.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Not a star in the sky could shine as bright as you, but you know what I mean? We're looking, and we're searching because sometimes if we're looking for a certain type of love, but I realized when we were really writing the song, there was a dark moment in my life. I was dealing with emotional, I was dealing with an emotional journey. You know what I mean? And that's if you listen to all my songs, you
Mm-hmm.
will understand my testimony and my struggles in relationship, my struggles just in life and with people, and you know what I mean. So there's
Okay.
a lot to do with all of
Oh, so
that.
we
All of my
have.
songs when I listen to
Well, I told you I became an instant fan when I heard this because I was like, you are deep. You're right. It really tugs on
them.
on the ventricles of the heart. And
Yeah,
it would appear from this song, your heart is bigger than what one will see. I don't even
yeah,
know how. I think you have to, when we're traveling, especially as ladies, we pack an extra luggage. I think you have to package your heart in a way, and based on this, you're expressing, but for some reason, it come across
yeah,
as it's well packaged. Is it available?
yeah. The funniest thing, this new project we're working on. It's called the Marketplace, and the
Uh-huh.
Marketplace is a three project. You know what I mean? And when you hear these songs now, you're gonna be like, wow, wow, where were you? Because my music is about conversation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we can take it two ways. We can take it the love topic. We can take it to God. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and the funniest thing that the structure, my base of my music is all gospel, right? But
Right.
you see, it's just a way of thinking. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be singing, hallelujah, glory to God. No, let me see where you are. Let me
Right.
meet you where you are,
Right.
and let's walk on top. Because I think that's the gospel. You
Connection.
know what I mean?
Having the
You
connection.
know, it's a connection and relationship. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to hang on to that part of the divine. You know what I mean? I'm trying to hang on to that part. You know what I mean? So hopefully I can catch somebody down there and they hang on to me, and we
You know,
connect. And
I actually think that you don't even need to hold on. I think it got you. I think
yes,
it got you. I think it got you because when I heard the lyrics and hear you expressing, absolutely, I think it got you. I think this is it. This
yeah,
is it.
yeah.
Okay.
See,
So,
I know the calling, and I'm sticking to it. I tell people I want people to know me for two things. When I walk into the room, I want you to know what shows up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And the only two things that, because right, I'm at this point in my life, I'm defined in my life, and I'm in this space, so I'm just defined in this space. So when you see me, is that a music or here? That's what you're getting from
Okay.
me. Yeah.
So when you heard you were nominated, like your first award, because there's so much. There's the Canadian Achievement Awards, there's the Urban Music Awards, and so on and so on. When you heard you got nominated for the first award, where were you? What happened? And I mean, as an artist, please do not leave out any emotional impact.
Um, it's not being nominated and all of these things impact.
Mhm.
It's just by people recognizing your work,
Yes,
not your
yes,
job, your work, your
work.
gift.
Yes, yes,
You
yes,
know what I
yes.
mean? That's what impact me. That's what make the difference for me.
So
You know
how
what I
did
mean?
you
If
feel? How did you feel? So you're recognized now. Did you go and, have communion? Did you have some red wine? Did you sit down with the persons that you write with? Take me to that place.
listen to me, when the first song went on the radio,
Hmm.
this is years ago.
Hmm.
Um, where was I? I was on my way. I think I was on my way to church, and I text everybody in my phone. You feel me? Text everybody, and I said, "Listen to me. I want you to call these radio station, and you gonna request these songs again." Listen, man, I felt like I was the most cockiest person ever walking because yes, your gift will make room for you, but the key part is I say to myself, it make room for me and bring me before great men. So I was asking
Right,
myself, who are the great men? But in
right,
church we were taught is like pastors and all of these, but no great man was anybody. It could have be the crippled
yes,
man, it could be the homeless man. Because you don't know
right,
what they're carrying.
right,
You know what I mean? So when I heard these things, it just tell me that there is so much more in me to give, and
right.
I just want to tour. I said I want to tour. I talk about everything. Sometimes I walk around certain places. You're walking around Jericho. I walk certain places. I'll go to drive past the airport, and I say, you know what? I'm going to that plane. I'm going to this place. I was,
Hmm.
you don't even understand.
You're
And
prophesying.
to God be the
So you were
glory.
prophesying. You're speaking the word in a prophetic
Exactly.
manner. So have you
Yeah.
given yourself a timeline? And for all that you have made declaration and prophetically talked to the thing to come to pass, what percentage has come to pass or almost?
I think anything I do musically came to pass because I spoke
Uh,
about it, and because you see, the thing is, I already see the thing happening.
no, I
You know
meant
what I
the
mean?
travels. I meant the travels in terms of you spoke that where you're going to be performing and so on of all
Oh,
the places.
listen, I've done all of North America. You
Okay.
understand? My goal was to head to Europe because
Hmm.
that's what we were planning. You see, that song you heard, "What Is Love," was off the template project. So we
Okay.
were preparing the template project to tour Europe. And
Mhm.
that's when the label and the management, everybody, just went segue. Everyone just went apart. And 2013, that's when the project was going to drop. And
Okay.
that's when management and I, we split up. And you see, even the photo you're putting up, that was the full band, because we were actually we were doing like almost 50 50 50 cities. You know what I mean? 50 shows, 50, I'll say 50, we call it music festival a year. So we were
Hmm.
on the road like 6 months. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And
Hmm.
it was getting exhausting. And sometimes when you're dealing with 14-piece band and stuff like that, you know what I mean, a lot of personality, you know what I mean, people can get off, and then money got get involved and all of these
Hmm.
things. And but I give God thanks for everywhere I've been in the state and few parts of the Caribbean and across Canada. You know what I mean? But Europe was my destination. It's like Paul. Paul had to go to Rome. That was his destination. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I had my destination, and now we're putting this project together. This is a
Mhm.
project going to blow you away when you hear this project.
I got my seatbelt locked because I love, love to be blown away when it's artistic, when you can clearly
Yeah,
see that God's hand is on it and in it. Absolutely love it. So I am locked and I'm ready. You're such a talented young man.
I appreciate it. I give credit to my parents. You know what I mean? My dad and my mom, because I said some of those beating really help
I said it's
steer me.
called disciplinary action.
Well, you know what? Well, you know what? I give God thanks for that chapter of my life
Mhm.
when we went part with management, to the point that sometime when God is trying to get your attention, you know what I mean, sometimes have to take some things or put something in a little wrench or a little crisis in your life, you know what I mean,
Okay.
so you can go back to basics, so you can connect at a certain level with you. And that's what happened in 2013. That's when it changed my whole trajectory of my life in the next last 10 years.
So that sounds to me that we're at the segment of talk to me about the trials. So you just
Yeah.
lined it up ever so perfectly. So what type of trials that you really you're comfortable in share, comfortable to share? What
um,
trials did you go through, and you could actually speak to your younger self that you know what, it's going to be okay.
yeah. I think when I was with my old management,
Okay.
and of how he wanted to structure me, because at one point he told me he makes me, and I said no,
Mm,
you need to change that attitude and change that conversation. You know what I mean? But and I think that's when the chain broke right there, and the transition happened in 2013. So this was a big tragedy, the big trial that happened, because we were literally on the verge of getting a great deal. You know what I mean? To the point that Yamaha and Golden Guitar suited out my band and stuff like that.
mhm,
And we almost got a really great distribution deal, and all of those things fell apart, and to the point that I really got angry,
mm,
especially with my management team, because I remember we came off tour. We were in I think Calgary. We came back, and National Car Rental gave us a great deal. Anytime we're in Canada, they would cover all of our costs and expense. You know what I
mm,
mean, with road trips and stuff like that. And I remember I brought the car home, and the weekend I said, you know what, I'm gonna drop it off on Monday. But I
right.
said I'm gonna keep it for a few more days because I had some things to do before we get up out of here again. And so I know I was on Young Street at some point, and the girl I was dating at the time, I think she was a part of this whole mess, because we needed to go to that transition. You know what I mean? The
Mhm.
old things are passed away. You know what I mean? So here's the thing: I went up to Young Street, and I leaving the shoppers, and I'm making the left turn on Young Street,
Mhm.
and I didn't realize I couldn't make the left, but I did make the left, and
Okay.
I was heading up past Finch, and a cop pulled me over with with the girl at the time, and he said, "You know what? I was watching you making the left turn, and you made it well. You know what I mean? And but
Uh-huh.
still, you know what? Just for take precaution. I want to see your license. They said your license is good." So he brought the license back and told me that basically, you know what, your license suspended. I mean, what do you mean my license suspended? I wouldn't be driving if my license suspended.
Mhm.
And because everything dealing with the business side of my music is my management. So we're always focused, the art, creative people always focus on just the art. And
Right.
we forget about the important things, the back end of the business. You know what I mean?
Right.
They
Mhm.
could rip you off. If you notice, a lot of these artists, you don't hear about these artists anymore. They got ripped off, they're broke, and all of these things. But
Mhm.
management kept going, and the guy told me that I should call someone to drive
Mhm.
the car home. And then he came back again and tell me that unfortunately you can't, we're going to take the car. And it was the rental. And I gave him the key, and I'm like, so what should I do? He said, you know what, he's going to tell us where it's going to go. And at the end of the day, I spoke to my management. I tell him, sit down, okay, you need to hear this.
Mhm.
We're
Mhm.
making the money. You know what I mean? It's just I hire you to manage me.
Mhm.
So whatever problem I'm into, you get it out. You're the manager, right?
You're to
That's your
manage.
job.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
And and at the end of the day, they impound the car, gave me a $2,000 fine, and every day they charge us at 7 days impound, and then 7 day rental, and then the 3 day rent. So in total, around $5,000
Oh my
we have
gosh.
to pay. And
Mhm.
when I told him, that's when everything went bananas. His wife said, "Don't call my husband back," and we're shutting this down. So I think that was his way of getting out. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
And right there. I got so angry to the point. I said, I want to go look for it. I'm going to call a lawyer, get a lawyer. I was calling the label and everything to talk, to get a hold of him. So he blocked everything, blocked me out of every rebooking for the next year. I was depressed. That 2013 was a turning point. I was so depressed for 1 year. I couldn't even tell my.
Take. It's okay. It's okay. I
I
got
tell
you.
you something.
I got
You
you.
see, yeah, for that 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
I got depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even certain thoughts will come to my mind, and that's when I have to go back to basic,
Mm-hmm.
my starting place,
Right.
where I met God. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you know I think it's later on. I said, what brought me to you? You tell me, say you'll never leave me, no. I said, that
Mm.
was my message,
Right.
and it brought me back to that message. I have a song on my first album. It's called
Mm-hmm.
"It's Gonna Be All Right. It's Gonna Be Okay. Put Jesus first in everything that you do." That song was my single, and that went back to that song because
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you something. If you're an artist, whatever you do, an accountant, it doesn't matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You have to go back to those places. How you
Right.
start,
Foundation.
foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have to go back. That's why sometimes there's transition, man, and that was my turning point, man. When I talk about these things, I get really shaken up. So
That's
these things are
okay.
important.
It's a
You know what I mean?
normal expression. It's a normal
And
expression.
I even call a few friends. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Some top friends. I say, yeah, listen to me, man. Management did this, and I could go look for him. That was the flesh was speaking up.
Okay, and that's a part of you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have to realize I'm a human being and I'm a man. You understand?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And those, we're gonna get back to those places.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this man know him I deal with. And them kind of, when you're Jamaican, sometimes we have to be expressive with these type of language.
Go back to basic.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? Here what's gonna happen. He blocked me out for 6 months. Didn't want to let me back into nothing. Because he said he did all of his work. We did everything together. But he taught me a lot as an artist. He taught me a lot about the back end. So like anybody that come and want to do management, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, your portfolio, everything. I'll challenge you in a month to see what you can produce in a month. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I grow as a man musically, and I grow as a man, business wise. And I realize, and it bring me back to childhood. I say, I always have that entrepreneur mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, guy, I'm going to encourage myself because, you tell me I should encourage myself. Sometimes we have to encourage ourselves and get up.
Right.
I said, a righteous man fall at 7 times. So I just start speaking things over my life, speaking back,
Mm-hmm.
trying to lit back my candle. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And to the point that I take myself away to find myself.
So you're now heading from trials into triumph. Oh,
Yes.
love it.
And I remember I fell in love with hair years ago,
Mm-hmm.
growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But what about hair I fell in love with was the artistic aspect of it.
Okay.
Because you know what, I can draw paint because when I see things as line and shapes, I see music is the same thing, colors, that's what I
Right.
see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I said, you know what, I'm going to print 3,000 cards. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to revamp myself. So I
Okay.
said, I'm going to go music part-time for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I went part-time, and I said, I'm going to start this process here. And I
Mm-hmm.
started it, and I tell you, it changed the whole trajectory of me. I set out to do it, and a friend of mine gave me a small money tree. You know those money tree?
Yes, yes, the Chinese tree.
Yeah. She gave it to me and said, "This is the gift. This is what this."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I got it. And every day I got home, I start talking to the tree.
Mm-hmm.
I start water the tree. Even when I'm leaving, I touch the tree, and even if I forgot to touch it, I go back and I say, "Oh, I'm sorry." So it was the nurturing aspect, is turning point in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
How
wow,
big is the tree now? It's
wow.
taking up the back. I can see it in the back. It's
No, no,
taking
it's
up
not
the
the tree
back.
in the back. You know, the tree have grown to the point that they have grown to my underarm
Right.
from the ground up.
What's
And
that?
it
Six
was
two?
telling me that God was telling me that, I would never leave you
Mm-hmm.
nor forsake you.
Right.
He said, "Take care of my flock, and I will take care of you." These are
That that
just some simple message.
that message is so powerful because man is created from the earth,
Yeah, yeah,
and here is it, you're talking about the connection from something that grows out of the earth as to the original design that God has created man to
mhm,
nurture, to tilt the ground.
yeah.
Oh my
So,
goodness, this is good.
so here what happened. I went 2,000 cards, gave it out all of them. I went back to where I used to be at a salon before in the area.
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, I write down, I said, I'm going to live on Young Street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, my business is going to be on Young Street. I'm going to
Okay.
be literally 2 minutes away or 5 minutes away.
Okay.
But it didn't happen. This was 2002. I mentioned that in my head. I tell myself that
Mm-hmm.
before all of that crazy stuff happened.
Okay.
You see how God works?
So
You
what
know
do
what I
you
mean? I
specialize
saw
in?
it in the
Barber?
supernatural. I saw it.
What do you specialize in? Barber,
No,
just
I specialize in you see, I'm more of a hairstylist.
okay.
Yeah, so I do both. You know what I mean? Because I tell myself, if I'm gonna do this, listen to me. I wanna point something out real quick here. I after I just wanna take you back somewhere to make
Okay.
the point of what I'm saying. I
Okay.
used to be at a salon around the corner at the Young and Eglinton.
Okay.
And I remember I did definitely I'd given out 3,000 cards again. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know something about the three. There's something about the three because where my shop is on the third floor. Where I live is on the third floor.
Trinity.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I a client walked in after 3 months
Mm-hmm.
and he said to me, "Can you cut this type of hair?"
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like mixed Caucasian. So I said, "No, but if you give me the opportunity, you're gonna love it."
Okay.
That's what I tell him.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in the back and I prayed. I
Mm-hmm.
went back to my third decision in my life because I
Mm-hmm.
found God at my third decision.
Okay.
Understand?
Mhm.
Canada was the 40% of my second decision.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
choosing art was my first decision.
Okay.
Okay. Try
Mm-hmm.
marriage, that was my fourth decision.
Okay.
Had a child, that was my fifth decision.
Okay.
You understand? And then
Mm-hmm.
later on, I can tell about the two greatest conversations I've had in my life.
Okay.
So the client asked me, "Can you cut this type of hair?" I said no, but I went back, prayed, came back. I said, "Lord, you know what? You're gonna be the driver. I'll be the instrument. You use me." And when
Mm-hmm.
I finished, the man laughed. I said, "So why you laughing?" He said, "That was the best haircut he ever had in his life."
Won't he do it?
That changed everything for me. I sat
Wow.
in the chair and I asked myself some question. I want to go by appointments. I want to live 3 or literally 5 minutes away, walking distance. I want
Mm-hmm.
my shop to be at the intersection of
Mm-hmm.
Young and at the busiest intersection. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And
Right.
I want to my boat lease has to be low.
Mm-hmm.
And every client that walk in the chair, I tell them I don't want to be just your hairstylist, your bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna speak into your life. So I said, I'm taking care of his flock, and he's
That's
gonna take
right.
care of me.
That's right.
That's what he said. Never
That's
leave me nor
right.
forsake me.
Yeah.
And I tell you, from I make those decisions, I tell you, I'm living that dream today.
Right.
And I give God thanks for that. And it bring me back to music. That's the passion calling me. That's why I'm back in music again.
So
You understand?
you have, oh my gosh, there's just so much more. And
there's so much more.
There's so much more, but there's one part I really want you to talk about, the philanthropy work, the giving back. What influenced you? How did that come about? Because as a musician, as an artist, you are your work. You're married to it. You're addicted to it. It becomes you. And there's no shame in that because it's your gift. And by law, it's supposed to make room for you. So you step out of that to give back. Tell me how that came about.
Came about to
your charity work. Your charity work.
Oh, listen. I think from I know myself, I've been doing charity.
Okay.
I've been
So
doing
do you
charity,
focus
but
with? Do you work with
my
children?
giving back is with my clients.
Okay.
Sometimes clients may come in and don't have no money. I tell them sit in the chair.
See, I can connect with you with that one. That is important.
Very important to me.
That is important.
Because sometimes you say, "You sure I'm coming back and pay?" I said, "No, you go bless somebody else."
Yes.
I'm okay.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So those are my things. So I do a lot of. I used to do a lot of back to school stuff with work. I used to do a lot of back to school with. I love working with young people. Young people are one of my drive because I didn't have a mentor growing up. You know what I mean? I didn't have no one to tell me, "Hey, you're not supposed to go there. Hey, you're not supposed to do this." And I believe I have so much to download in the next generation.
You're doing it.
Yeah. And I can say yes. I'm going to say yes. I am doing it.
And I'm glad that you received that.
I'm very humble with certain things.
Yeah, I'm glad that you can receive that because so many times person have a challenge to receive and say thank you. They fight it off or they give you every reason why it's no. So the fact that you're ready to receive that, it just means that that money tree and it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. And I'm sure it's not just the financial aspect because there's I already know that. So what would you tell your younger self? You've gone through so much. What would you tell your younger self?
What would I really say to me? Because I was going to say something to you. I just caught up to me the other day.
That's okay.
And the other day, I just met me the other day.
That's perfectly fine.
And I met me, I think 2014. And I think that's when I think that's when things just start coming to life. Everything just start lining up in place. And I always say, I don't rush the process because everything in life have a roadmap.
Yes.
You can't go across. You can't even a calculator comes with instruction.
Hold on. Can I see it? Is that an actual calculator?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Everything come with instruction. Everything come with a roadmap. And if you follow the roadmap, you would never fail.
You can't.
That's your foundation.
Okay.
I always tell us, start. You see all these construction guys, they have to build these houses and stuff like that. Have to dig them, have to go from ground first down to come up because you have to be solid.
Yes. So if the wind comes and the snow comes and all the other turbidities, you're rooted. Yes.
Yeah, and I tell them you have to know where you're building. So that meaning that you have to exercise up here. Read.
Mental stimulation.
You know what I mean? I said, you know what? If you're a person love to pray, and don't meditate, and you tell me say you hear from God, you can't hear from God if you have no.
Let's bump fist for that one. Let's bump fist for that one because that right there is that's it. And
I didn't understand it, and I'm like, why am I here praying, and then get up with the same problem? Because I never shut up.
That's right. If
you pray 10 minutes, you meditate for the next 90 minutes.
There has to be a balance. Because if you keep talking, you miss what God is saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's why I don't go to a lot of prayer meetings. Too much praying and not listening. Not listening.
Hey,
But big shout out to those who deep in the pyramid. There's people for those things. Nothing wrong
if
with it.
what I always say, if that methodology works for that mass, that person, by
Yeah.
all means. But I am an advocate to say it's not a cookie cutter. We
No.
all don't have this obviously the same testimony, like we don't have the same fingerprint, and our stories or trials or tests. It's absolutely different. And I think
Yeah.
we as people, our believers, should get to the place of just, accepting that more than trying to conform
Yeah.
everybody to a place. This is what you must, and if you're not doing it, you're not saved or you're not hearing from God. I think right there,
Exactly.
that's all wrong. That's bondage in a sense.
Yeah, man. I tell you
Wow.
what. And I'm free from that long.
But I can see
2012, I'm
that.
free from bondage, man.
I can
Yeah,
see
man.
that. I can
Because I
see that
believe in life. Because he said, what? He come to give me life more abundantly.
abundantly. Right.
You don't come to set up church. I'm already the church. Go out into the world to become, fishers of men. Fling out your net, your net or whatever. Men were trying to catch people. And I fell in
Wow.
love with people. I fell in love with people since I met God.
That's it. Because love has no
You know,
boundaries. It has no
no
color.
boundary.
There was a question that was raised. So how did you come back to music after you lost your manager? Did you start managing yourself? Another manager came on board. Now I know God is the first manager. I know that. But what
I'm glad
human
you mentioned
being?
that. So I remember. So when I decided to go business, which is
Mhm,
the back end part of stuff, to understand business,
mhm,
and then but most of my clientele,
mhm.
they're all creative people.
Okay.
When I was going through my transition, I was pushing them. A
Mhm,
lot of them would come and sit in the chair and say, "Man, Jermaine, I do music and this and that. I'm an actor. I'm all of
mhm,
it." And I'm like, and I'm pounding on them. And I'm like, if you ever give up this dream.
mhm.
I remember one day I went home because normally when you're in this type of business, you take on people burden.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And I tell you, I go home every evening with people burden. I sit down sometime for an hour. And
Trying
I
to
said,
figure
why?
out.
And I said, why me? But I said, why not?
That's right. That's right.
And through that, because you know, I spend 99% of my time in the space here. Just
Mhm.
me and God sometimes.
Yes.
You hear me?
Mhm.
And I would, if you wanna kill your enemy fast, show your business man because they can't. Because I wouldn't even give my words into this because they can't handle it. But I realized that I'm giving my life for money,
Right.
and some of us who do 9 to 5 give their time
Right.
for money. But
Mhm.
when I go home at night, I talk about these things. I question myself, and then only one place I could go back to let all of these things go is
Mhm.
in my gift,
Right.
my work,
Mhm.
music. And I sat down and I said, you know what, I want to talk to somebody, but it's like I, to some point, sometime I feel homeless.
Mhm.
Hear what I'm saying by I say homeless? Because
Yes.
you may have so much friends around, but you can't talk to nobody.
You haven't made the connection. So
You know?
I will use that opportunity to speak of our sponsors, which is my clinic, the Alabaster Wellness Clinic, and we have a team of
Mm,
specialists who we specialize in just this, making connection through clinical psychotherapy, integrative medicine, and I'm not sure if you know this, trichology, which is really the scientific study of hair and scalp and their disorders. So we definitely can do a liaison in future, but I'll use this the platform. Don't worry, we'll meet. I'm sure we'll meet. But
mhm.
I understand what you mean about connection. It's important because there are
Yeah,
lots of persons who you can sit and have a conversation with. And human nature, many times they judge. The
yeah,
perception, they judge. They either judge
yeah,
by how big the tree is, how small the tree is, the fruit, the blossom, and so on. And at the end
yeah,
of the day, the most important thing we should ask a person is what's wrong, not not in a judgeful manner, but most
Yeah.
persons always in a condemning manner to kind of put you down. But understanding what went wrong is more powerful than really what is wrong, because what went wrong, the foundation is broken. That's why the temple is fallen. And then what has gone wrong is the symptoms of what we see, right? So you're at the right place.
So that night I went to bed,
Yes.
and I said I'm gonna call my producer from day one.
Previous. Okay.
That's big shout out to Promise
I
Music.
promise.
And incredible artist, incredible artist. So I called him. I said, you know what? Music is waking me up at night,
Mm-hmm.
and
Just take a breath, step back, take a breath, and then step into
man.
it again.
So I said to him, I need to get back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was running from it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man, what are you doing to me? Oh my gosh.
I
Uh,
we're just
okay.
connecting. We're just connecting. That's really what
Yeah.
it's about.
And I said to him, I think I'm ready to go back. You know?
Yeah.
And he said, you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I said, bro, I can never be sure about this, man. And
I got you. I got you. This is what connection is all about.
wow.
Just take a deep breath. This is what connection is all about. This is a divine moment.
Wow. I tell you, then he came and see me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, came and see me like a week after.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you sure you're ready? I said, man, this is how I want to talk about the next chapter.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I said, I want to talk about it from behind the curtain,
Mm-hmm.
because people always see you in the foreground all the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but they don't know when the dust settles.
Yes.
Oof, man, oh man,
I got you.
this
I
is
got you.
crazy.
Just take a deep
So I said,
breath.
I want to talk about it from
Mm-hmm.
because my work impacted me so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I have something to give back. And I said, you know what? Let's see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're standing outside the boat, reasoning about this before we take sail.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, listen, man, want to jump on this?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna ride through high and lows, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And that's when we came out with the first single. It's called No Ya. We shot the video for it too.
Okay.
And we said, you know what? I said, promise you what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you all the story. Even if I can't write right now, I'm going to tell you my vision.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you exactly what I want to. I want the music to hit everybody.
Right.
So the conversation I'm looking for is a two-way conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw myself around a table,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw my decisions I made around the
Right.
table.
Mm-hmm.
Those was different chapter of my life around
Mm-hmm.
the table. So when I look around the table, all of those things looking back at me,
Mm-hmm.
but I realized it wasn't me I was looking at. I was looking at God.
Won't he do it?
You understand?
Yes.
So I'm looking at my reflection, but who I was looking at was really God.
Mm-hmm. But you are made in his image.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it's like I saw myself walking down the street,
Mm-hmm.
and I was running up to catch up with that guy, and I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk. But it was God I met down the road. So that's why I said, you know what? I want a two-way conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But when people hear the music, they're gonna think, oh, it's secular music. But you have to
Mm-hmm.
listen to the message.
Exactly. The message in the music.
The song said, I would like to get to know you, know who you are. I've been trying for so long. Why every time that you fall, is it my name you call? I gave my life. I couldn't see me living without you. I don't know why. You know, the song, the actual video is online right now on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's called Know Ya. So that was the introduction because he has been beaten on my heart
Right.
so long, and it's been beaten on all of our hearts. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that was the conversation. I literally wanted people to think it was a woman I'm talking about,
That's okay.
but it was not a woman we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really God was speaking to. It's basically saying, I just want to walk and talk with you.
Right.
You know, let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the project. That's what I call it, the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And the marketplace has three different levels.
Right.
So I wanted to touch on the emotional conversation topics. That's what I call the first one, music box.
Okay.
And the second one was the alter ego. The alter ego, because every one of that side of us, we
Mm-hmm.
love to swag and we want to put on the nice things and all of these things. When I'm getting expressive, I go dance all. You understand?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then the last leg of the project is called the subconscious mind.
Wow.
That's where you hear more the deep gospel, but it's more. Listen, man, I'm so excited about it. It's because of COVID. That's why the first leg didn't drop May. So we're going October.
Listen, October is the right time. There's so
Yeah.
much good that was birthed out of COVID. It's the right
Mhm.
time. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's next? You talk about October. Line us up for concert tour, collaborations.
Oh,
Um,
oh. Well, we have a lot of, if it's musical, we have a lot of collaboration on this project.
okay.
This project is more, I'm giving you pop, I'm giving you EDM, I'm giving you
Hmm.
roots rock, I'm giving you
Hmm.
dancehall, I'm giving you lovers rock, I'm giving you ballads, I'm giving you everything. Because when you go to the market, you can shop for anything and you get it.
So, let me ask you this now. You're an artist and you have passion. You express yourself through these passion. Are you a dancer or you're a bobber? You just bob your
No,
head,
I love to
tap your
dance. I'll be the last one leaving the dance floor. I help the DJ pack up.
Oh no,
That's
I love that. Are we talking the one step, two step, the skank, or are you just
Listen.
getting up on the wall
I'm
and
into
just
salsa. I'm into merengue. I'm
look
into
at
bachata.
you?
I go all out. Listen to me. Let me tell you, I enjoy life. Okay.
And that's important. You know why I asked that, right? Because the one of the vision for the Now talk show, we're actually going to have a social where it's going to be interactive. We're going to dance, we're going to mingle. So we're going to invite all the guests, and I'm going to hold you to that salsa. I'm going to
You
hold you to
should.
that. I'm going to
You
hold you to
should.
that two step. I'm going to hold you all to that. I don't listen.
You
We have
should.
it on tape. We have it on tape that you're saying you're
Pull
going
it
to
up.
bring it.
Pull it
That's
up.
that. That's it. That's it. It's a done
Listen,
deal.
man, I tell people I'm not going to wait until I'm 60, 70 to enjoy life. When I
Right.
get to those age, I'm in the hospital. So while
Doing
I'm
what?
here now,
Giving back.
enjoy it until I die.
Yes. No, I agree with you. I agree. Live each day like it's the last.
Yeah,
Live each day
definitely.
like it's the last. Wow.
Exactly.
Uh, uh,
Exactly.
not a problem. And unfortunately, we are just about out of time. But we're going to
Oh,
invite you to come back because there's so much more meat and potatoes that we have not
definitely.
served up with the trimmings from
Later
international.
on, I'll tell you about my book I'm writing and stuff like that. So you hear
Oh,
about that on the
no,
next
no,
time.
no, you have to come back. You have to come back. You know why? Because there is just so many gifts that you produce. And you know what it's like. We have mango season now. If you're like East Indian, you go for East Indian. If you like Julie, you go for Julie. If you like whatever fruit, you go for it. So
Exactly.
because you have just birthed a whole
Mm,
marketplace era for East Indian, let's just
mm,
nibble on that, eat the seed until it's dry. And then when you
naturally.
birthed the book, then we go over to the other section of the marketplace and we eat up as much as possible. See, you're so
Exactly.
precious. We have to
Exactly.
embrace you in installment to appreciate you. That's just how great you are.
Oh, I appreciate it. I just give God the praise for that, man. Thank you so
And
much.
that's just God. That's just God in itself. And I recognize it. And I would just shout it out on the mountaintop. You are a great man, a great example,
Uh,
great man of God. And the way
I
your
thank you
heart
so much.
turned, yes, the way your heart turned and connects and so on, only God can do that. He's the only one that can turn your heart and allow it
Amen.
to flow. You know, the heart of the king, that's who you are. And when God's hand is on that heart, it turns. And the word of God said it runs like a river, you
Oh,
know.
man.
So Proverbs was that Proverbs 21. So that's really what's happening. It's just an example, an expression of God in you. And what an honor. So you have to come back, and I'm sure we're going to talk some
Anytime.
more.
I
Oh,
would
I
love to come
love
back
it.
when the project drop to come share it with you guys.
Oh, you listen. We the invitation is. I think our producer. I just heard it in my ear. We've already penciled you in. It's a matter of when. It's a something.
Man,
I absolutely enjoyed this interview with you. You're such a gifted person, and
thank you.
again, when the album drops, the show. I mean, I like to be. I'm an encourager, so I'm okay putting on some stilettos if need be. Sit in the front row, and I
That's
like
enough.
love the music. So by all
Oh, man.
means, so you
I
must come
appreciate it
back.
so much. And I have to
Not a problem.
apologize about the delay. You know,
As
I
I
like to be
said,
a man on time, okay?
I told them as an international artist, it take a while for your private plane to clear and custom and so on. So technically, you're on time. Okay.
Yeah.
So we understand.
Oh, my gosh.
We have wait for the greats. We've wait for Michael Jackson. We've wait for Bob Marley. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
which I know are some of they influence some of your music. So
Yes, they are.
we
Yes, they are.
understand.
Yes, they
We
are.
understand. It
I
is
have to
well.
say a big shout out to your producer guy there. Is it
Rob,
Rob?
my
He
team.
was
We
very
have Rob.
professional.
Oh, yes, they all are. Shout out
Yeah.
to the team of the now. We have
And the team,
Christine, we have
Diane, and all of those
Diane,
people,
we
man.
have
Big
Rob.
shout out to
Oh,
them.
yes, yes.
They're
This is
on
the
my
team.
case like crazy. Man. I was out of town, and I was
As
trying to
we
get
know,
everything organized out of town. Yeah.
yes, no, it's a, I have a great foundation. You talk about foundation. God has put
Yeah.
all the pieces together. Really, He has done this. And
Amen.
we have a team, a great foundation. So we're just
Yeah.
looking to keep going higher and higher. I know as the Lord will favor us, which He
Definitely.
definitely is.
Definitely.
Yes. So again, thank you for coming,
Yeah.
and we will talk regarding the
Yes. But big shout out to
trichology.
the people them that are watching, please. Some of
Your
them are my
fans.
people.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Big
Well,
shout out to them. And thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
And we
Thank
will
you
do
as
this
well.
again and continue as God expand your territory. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, you're a prophet, so what you from the mouthpiece of God, I receive that.
We say right away.
Right. Okay, thank you so very much. Ladies
Definitely.
and gentlemen, thank you so very much for being with us at this. This is such an awesome, oh my gosh, Jermaine Cowan, thank you so very much for just
God
sharing
bless
your
you.
heart, expressing your heart.
anytime.
We love it.
Yeah,
We
but I cry
absolutely
upon
love it.
take upon them stuff. Don't
Yeah,
let it happen again.
I've been known. I've been known to do that. It's okay. I'll give
It's
you a
all good.
virtual hug.
I'm a
It's
very
all good.
passionate guy, so that's what
And
it
I
is.
love it. And I love it.
Yeah,
And I love it. And
thank
I
you so
love it.
much.
Thank you so very much.
God bless you.
You too as well. I
Yeah.
wanted to share with the audience that the Now Talk Show is sponsored by the Alabaster Wellness Clinic. We have a team of specialists that specialize in trichology, integrative medicine, and of course, oh my gosh, I'm just hearing the song that you were talking about in my head. Oh, this is
So
amazing. The one, what is love? It just I saw it before me, and I'll repeat what I was saying. The, the Now Talk Show is sponsored by the Alabaster Wellness Clinic. And as I indicated before, we have a team of specialists that specialize in trichology, which is counseling, and integrative medicine, and psychotherapy as well. So I'll repeat that again. Trichology is the scientific study of hair and scalp and their disorders, and psychotherapy and counseling, and of course, integrative medicine, which is natural medicine that we use to create formulations to offer optimum health. So we welcome, should you need further counseling or you would like direction in terms of complete health, the clinic itself offers all these areas in terms of accomplishing complete health. So I thank you for logging on for further information to Alabaster Wellness Clinic. We'll be more than happy to follow up in terms of making you achieve optimum health. Thank you so very much, Jermaine. Again, I'm seeing
thank
so many
you.
great things. Oh my goodness. I'm seeing so many
Amen.
great things. And I'm not
Tell
sure
them
if
to
our
follow
team
me.
of, okay, go ahead.
Get them to follow me, Jermaine Cowan, on
Say
all
it.
social media platforms.
Say it. You have the
Yeah,
moment.
so people follow me at Jermaine Cowan on every social media from YouTube. I'm building the YouTube because I want to show you guys a lot more visual into my life, my day-to-day life. So I've been capturing everything right now. So we're already building it. You can jump over to Spotify, you can jump over to iTunes, anywhere to listen to music, stream it, call your radio station, stuff like that. IG, I'm all over there. You know what I mean? And let us become friends. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. Big shout out to Fiona, Reverend Fiona.
Hi,
Definitely.
Reverend Fiona. Powerful woman. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Anyone
That's the
else?
connection.
Anyone else you want to say a
My
shout
mom
out
is
to?
watching, so my mom is watching. So big shout out to her.
Hi,
You know,
Mom.
love
Okay,
her for life.
so we
You know what
have
I
a
mean?
final
And
request, and I'm not sure if it's your mom who requested this or if Reverend Fiona, or perhaps I'm putting in my bid. Can you serenade us out, please? And I would like What is Love?
listen,
Do the
not a
acapella.
star in the sky could shine as bright as you. So when I close my eyes at night, all I see is you. It's you. Life without you, I couldn't take it. That's why I know God wouldn't make it without you. You. So no matter what I say, you better know that you are the cream of the crop. You better hold your head out like you knew it was true. And I know in your heart you think you just played your part. But girl, it's all about you. Oh girl. For so long, so long, to show my appreciation. Thank you for being patient with me. I'm gonna big up this show. Thank you, everyone in the background, you know. Yeah, man, bless up. It's me, your boy, Jermaine Cowan. You know what time it is. I'm out. Right
I
away.
love it. I love it. Thank you so very much. I'm sure your mom is beaming from ear to ear. I'm sure Reverend Fiona is saying, "That's my guy." And like
Naturally.
everybody else who's looking, saying, "Listen, we're gonna keep following you because there's greater things to come." And I know I want to be in the front
Definitely.
row to just
I'm
keep
excited about
celebrating.
this chapter coming. I'm excited
Oh,
about it.
so am I. So am
Yeah.
I. So am I. So am I. I'm
Yeah,
a
man.
plan person. You really taught me a lot. Like I talk to my plants and stuff. I do have a money tree, and it just keeps flourishing. But the
Yeah.
intimacy that you just shared, I think I need to up my game.
We're just keeping a lot of things shallow, but we love to get deeper because I like to take people, I don't like to speak to people like at the top of the water. I like to take you out far in the water where it's going to challenge you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's where I have my conversation.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Again,
Natural.
again, audience, thank you so very much for your time and witnessing history. Aha, history
Uh,
that we made, having a conversation with Jermaine Cowan. Again, the Now Talk Show is sponsored by the Alabaster Wellness Clinic, where we have a team of professionals that specialize in psychotherapy, integrative medicine, and trichology. Please go on our website, alabasterwellness.com, for further information. I am Dr. Nadine Wong. I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm here to assist you in terms of accomplishing complete wellness from the spiritual aspect, the mental aspect, and the psychological, trichological aspect as well. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you and good night.